Hello, everybody. Okay, so now quiet in the rectory, please. Okay, now I would like to welcome Father Steve to the Pinball Confessional. Father Steve.
Yo, you mind? All right, thank you. Great to be here at the Texas Pinball Festival. Okay, this is the only sincere thing that I'm going to say tonight, okay? I'm going to say a prayer. I hope you join me. Lord, bless everybody that's at the Texas Pinball Festival, all these good people. Please don't strike me down with a bolt of lightning. I'm just having fun with a bunch of good people. Amen. Can you give me an amen? All right, one more, amen. Okay, so I'm sure that every one of us have some pinball sins or any other kind of sins you'd like to unburden yourselves of. And I'd be happy to have someone come up here and sit here in the confessional and tell us about it. Do I have any volunteers? Oh, that's a bad place for that, but thank you. In the mic.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You want to tell me about it?
Yes.
Great.
I once asked Steve Ritchie to sign my Ghostbusters playfield.
That truly is a sin.
Do you remember?
But if you say 10 play betters and clean 2 machines out on the floor, your sins are absolved.
Thank you, Father.
All right, now hit the road.
All right.
Who's the next brave soul up here? Come on up. You know how hot it is in here? Say nothing. Ready? Say that.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
Do tell. When's the last time you had confession?
Oh, it's been a while. And I love Steve Ritchie machines. I've played many of them. I've spent many hours playing them. I do love them. But the only reason I'm up here, I must confess, is to sit next to Shao Kahn.
I didn't hear that.
It's to sit next to Shao Kahn. I am sitting next to Shao Kahn.
Are you upset with the way the machines treat you?
No, they're wonderful. They're wonderful.
Okay.
But here I am.
Here you are.
My childhood hero is right here. And it's not even pinball related, and I'm so sorry. I have sinned.
Okay, that is a sin. Say 10 or 12. Now we'll make it 12. Crash and burn. And I want you to find a Pac-Man machine and buy it for my game room.
Understood.
Thank you. No, I meant crash and burn right now, 10 of them. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that.
Thank you so much, Father.
Thanks for coming. Come on, you sinners, come on up and talk to me. Where's Bill Morris? I know he's got a lot to share. Come on up.
Bless me, Father. Will you hold my drink, Father? Will you hold my drink, please?
Try this again now, ready?
Okay.
Okay, salvation.
1 second.
Here, right here, look over here. Look at that. Say it.
Bless me, Father. I have sinned.
No kidding.
You know the pinball machine Rocky and Bullwinkle?
Rocky and Bullwinkle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to play it or anything, but
So, can you envision, what is Rocky?
what is Rocky?
Yeah, what is he?
He's a flying squirrel.
Okay, what's Bullwinkle?
Bullwinkle's a moose.
Okay. I once had a Rocky and Bullwinkle, and there was a mother and 2 children that came to my showroom one time to see Rocky and Bullwinkle. And when I opened the game, it was a different Rocky and Bullwinkle.
What kind of Bullwinkle was it?
There was a Rocky, and he was kind of rocky, and it was from Europe. It was kind of, the mom left the store immediately with her kids because it was rocky, very rocky.
Okay.
When I opened the back glass, it showed Rocky, and Bullwinkle was not what I expected.
Okay.
I would have never done that if I would have known what Rocky and Bullwinkle was in Europe. I expected something different.
Well, I don't know what you expected, but
Rocky was a big boy, and Bullwinkle was a very nice-looking lady.
okay. Well, your sins are absolved. What I want you to do is say, you missed everything
you.
10 times and sell 1 pinball machine.
No.
Okay.
Black Knight 2000?
Okay, hit the road. Shelley, I'd love to have you. Don't say anything, pick up the mic.
Hello. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned many times in my lifetime. I would
Wait
like...
a minute.
Okay.
When was your last confession?
Never?
Just say the 35th day of Cunegonda.
The 35th day of Cunegonda.
Never.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Never.
You got it.
Okay. I would like to talk to you about how Bill Morrison's Hyperball has sinned.
Really?
Yes, many, many times. I've gone over to this gentleman's household, and it never works, ever. And it's a problem. I love your game. I love it. I don't think it's you. I think it's the owner, but I don't know that, but I think it's a great game. I love that game. There's an excellent version of it out on the floor for those of you that don't know. Alex, if he's in the room, Alex has one for sale. It's amazing. I love Hyperball, but the example that I've been provided by my friends is not okay.
It would take the Lord's help to keep Hyperball working.
True story. True story. It's a lot of firing.
So bless you, Bill. Give it a shot. Somebody else is going to have to fix that for you.
I'm
We'll
upset.
find the correct center later tonight.
I'm upset because I don't own one, but that's okay. That's okay. In due time.
So you don't have any sins yourself?
I definitely, no. The only sin that I have is that I showed up at Bill's house thinking that his Hyperball would work, but that's okay.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay. Just
And have a good evening.
Okay, thank you.
Next good sinner. Who's man enough to come up and confess? So here he comes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Matt Cristiano, who's come to speak to Father Steve.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
When was your last confession?
I can't remember. But I do know I let a famous pinball designer into my house and let him fix, we'll say fix, a almost working game. And then, well, it took about a year for it to work again.
I'm not good with electronics. People at Williams and Stern will not let me fix things that are electronic. I don't even adjust switches because bad things happen when I touch games, and I'm really sorry. But that's my sin, that's not your sin.
Well, my sin was letting you touch it.
That was cool. Well,
I have another sin.
then oh, you do?
Yes.
Wait, but first I have to.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to have to say, I'll say 10 crash and burns right now. Crash and burn! That's enough. Okay.
My second sin is letting a pinball designer into my house for months and then letting him leave without signing my games.
I am a bad man.
How could I do that?
I have to come out to California again, I guess.
I guess so.
I do. I'm really sorry. Hey, I'm the priest here, okay? I'm not supposed to be, all right, but I'll do what I'll have to do.
It's
Anyway,
all good.
I'll take care of it, I promise. But, I mean, you could have reminded me. It could have been that, well, we spent about 6 hours on a hill drinking a whole bottle of gin and
We did.
gin and tonics.
That's another sin.
So it's like, you could not believe this beautiful setting at the top of a, well, I'm going to call it a mountain because it is. And
You called it
this
Gin Mountain.
beautiful view in front of us, and I've told a few people about that, and it's like, it was just a great time. One of the best times I've ever had. Anyway,
Thank you, Steve.
thank you, sir. You guys know who Matt Cristiano is? Matt Cristiano is a co-owner and partner with Planetary Pinball Supply. Great to have him. Martin Iab. Don't you have a confession? Come on up. You know, you got to go up the stairs. That's it. Unless you're gonna. There you are. Pick up the mic, say nothing. And read this.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
There it is. You got it.
I'm pretty sure that I might like Lion Man more than I like Star Trek The Next Generation.
You what? Say it again so I can hear it. I'm a deaf man.
I'm pretty sure that I might like Lion Man more than I like Star Trek The Next Generation.
Fine. To each his own, but you should be punished.
What's a punishment for such love for a lion man?
It's mostly stuff like, tell you what, mow your neighbor's lawn and you're just done.
I hate my neighbors.
Okay, all right, don't help them out, it's all right.
Oh, okay.
Look, I'm not all hurt or anything. It's okay. Iron Man's a good game.
No, Lion Man.
Oh, Lion Man.
Lion Man.
It's time for you to leave the chair, sir.
Next Gen is pretty damn good, though.
Switch it off, if you would. Switch it off. Thank you very much. Where's the next confessor?
I do love Next Gen.
Come on up here. The man on his way up is... Are you talking to me?
Yes,
What do you want to say? Oh, you want to confess?
I can, but I can wait.
Can this guy come first?
But of course.
Okay. The guy walking up on the stage right now is Barry Osler. He's made many, many great games. Comet. I can't think of any others. No, he's got lots of good games, lots of them. Whoa, be careful. There you go. Okay, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
When's the last time you've been to confession?
I can't
okay? You gotta switch on. It's my fault. They've been attending to the volume very nicely. That was my interference.
Right again, then. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
Okay, that's great. So, what is your sin?
Well, I used to work with this guy named Steve Ritchie.
With or for? With.
With him.
Right.
And I used to shoot bottle rockets under the door of his office, and they would explode under his chair when he's on the phone.
That did happen once or twice.
And there were many burn marks under the door.
Until Ken Fidesna walked by. He's the president, and he said, don't do that. Put a piece of metal on it, under it, so it doesn't burn the carpet.
And I'm just sorry I didn't use something bigger.
Say it again.
I'm sorry I didn't use something bigger.
Oh, shame on you. You did get me back quite a few times. Well, yeah, you definitely have sinned a lot, but you're talking about my sins now. Well, I remember when I used to like you. It was some time ago, and actually we've been friends for a long time. I hate to say how long.
I know.
40 years?
40 years.
40 years. 40, folks. I hear you're working with that new pinball guy.
Yes, I do. Deep root.
Yeah, I read his stuff, and I'm kind of scared.
You should be.
Okay, great. You realize how hot it is wearing this thing? All right, there we go.
It's better than the crown and the robe.
It's what?
Better than the crown and the robe.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. It's cooler than that. Anyway, thanks for confessing.
Thank you.
I want you to say 10. Come on, turkey, hit me. 10 of those, please. Right now.
Come on, turkey, hit
No,
me.
you don't have to do 10, really. Just one's good. Anyway, thanks for coming up.
Thank you, Father.
Hey, Ausler, ladies and gentlemen. I know there's a man named Gomez in here, and I know he's committed thousands of sins, thousands.
I'm stealing your mic.
He might not want to come up here, but if he wants to, he can. It's up to him. Oh, wait. It's,
I don't think I can top that.
oh, it's Antoinette's turn, unless you don't want one. Remember, it can be any kind of sin.
Nuh-uh.
The bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
When's the last time you had confession?
I don't think I've ever had one.
Me either. I'm Lutheran. We'll raise that way anyway. What do you have to say?
So it can be anything?
I didn't catch that.
Anything?
Anything. If you would like to, to unburden
Should we
yourself.
keep it to like specific pinball-related sins?
Pinball or not. Anything you want.
Like along the lines of damaging a pinball machine, or
Oh, you have?
such as the first machine to have hanky-panky on? Can I say that? I know it's a child's event, also.
Well, let's say that you just do this. Say shoot here and here 5 times, and go find a T3 on the floor to clean. All right. Thank you.
I can do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Antoinette, and she helped me build this beautiful confessional. In fact, she did more of the work than I did. And I thank her for helping me. Next confessor, Mike Vinicor.
Wait, before we do this, Steve.
No talking yet. Don't speak, don't speak. Say it.
Bless me, King, for I have sinned.
That was good.
Before I confess, you have to promise I'm not going to get kicked off your team for telling you this.
You might. Mike Vinicor is on my team on the next game. And I'm glad to have him.
Thank you. I'll roll the dice for the sake of entertaining these fans. One time when Mark Panaccio was moving, he asked me if I would store his pinball machines.
Yes.
And I refused to take in the roller games.
Oh my God. Well, it's not so bad. You really don't have to do anything. Just buy a roller games.
All right, done.
You don't like it, do you?
I don't like it. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Why not? Go for the wall. The violators. It was cool.
I didn't have enough space, really.
Yeah, okay, right.
He had 5 games.
That's as good excuse as any.
Yeah.
You're off the team.
Damn it.
He's not off the team. Anyway,
What's my punishment?
thanks for coming up here.
Okay.
I'm really glad you work at Stern Pinball. I wanted to tell you myself.
Thank you, Steve.
We're having a good time, and you know
Very
it.
good time, yeah.
All right, there it is. Mike Vinicor. He's joined the Stern team. I don't know how long ago. It's been more than 6 months. A year. He's been a great addition. Is there anyone else that would like to confess? Geez, George, I've been waiting, man. Say nothing. Look over here. Look over here. Say those words.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
When was the last time you had confession?
It's been years.
So what are your sins?
Well, I must confess that the bottom of all of my games I stole from you.
It's no big deal, man. I stole the bottom too.
You did?
Well, I did, but it wasn't Italian bottom, but I did modify it.
Yeah.
I smoothed it out a bit, maybe.
I've made it better now, but...
Right. You have not. I just played your game. No, that's good. It's okay. We borrow from each other. There's nothing wrong with that. The important thing is that we make good pinball machines for this company right here, Stern Pinball. And I just want to say this. We both work at Stern because we love pinball, but I'm in the business of selling pinballs also because I understand that if we don't make money, pinball might go away. And it has for me 3 different times, shut down 3 different companies. So I talk about it. It's not like I'm some big time capitalist. I'm just a realist. If people don't buy pinballs and if the pinball machines aren't good and we don't sell them, we're in trouble. So we have a big responsibility to make the best games that we have and to get them sold and keep it rolling.
Hear, hear.
And Gary Stern doesn't make me say that. Nobody makes me say that. It's from the heart because it's true. Anyway, thanks a lot, George, for coming up.
What's my punishment for stealing the bottom?
Okay.
For all my games from you.
Okay, just say this.
And making it better.
Say this, just one. I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. Can you do it? I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Well done. George Gomez, folks. Thanks for helping. Do we have any other people that would like to confess their sins? I see sinner. There's one right there in a green shirt. Actually, we know about a church that had a preacher like that. He pointed people out and said, you have to stop arguing with your wife. Anyway, it's a crazy thing. Ready?
Ready? Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
You're a genius.
I've had impure thoughts.
When was the last time you had confession?
Last time I saw you.
Okay.
I've thought about drilling the post in my Star Wars Ellie.
That is bad. No. Well, Okay.
But then I played better.
All right, do you feel better about it now that you took it out?
I never drilled it in, so it was just impure thoughts.
Okay, all right. It's an evil thought.
Yes.
All right, but you never went through with it, actually.
I never did.
All right, well, that's not so bad. See, until now, I thought you were perfect.
No, far from.
Okay, well, I'll make it easy on you. Say 13, give me your money, okay? 13 of those and clean 2 dirty games. I know Bill Morrison's games are pretty dirty. Just joking. Okay. And we're done.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for coming up. Is this really fun or not so much? Are you guys having fun? I just have to know. I'm sitting in this box for you. It's hot. I'm wearing this get-up. Are there any more sinners? Because if there aren't any more, I'd like to do a question and answer, if you'd like to. And I need Mike Vinicor up here to help me out. If you wouldn't mind, I need a translator. Oh, wait a minute. Father needs a drink. I've changed my tune. Anybody have any questions? Way back there. You're making a run. You're mean.
So I have one question. Black Knight 2000s had 2 different sets of plastics, and I was curious what the difference was between why there was a futuristic plastic and then there was a castle plastic.
Why was there 2 different plastic sets for Black Knight 2000?
Because the artist, Doug Watson, was kind of a wacko. The first set he did, no, not really. Actually, Watson's a good artist. He is. Actually, we wanted plastics to tell more of a story because the playfield was nothing but graphics. Man, even when they were changed, there wasn't much of a story, but there were some funny looking buildings on the game, and I don't know, there were 2 sets because we liked the second set better. Guess that's it. Any other questions? There must be a break. Oh no, it's John Borg.
You mentioned story. How much do you think about telling a narrative with your pinball machines?
How much do you think about telling a story with your games?
I think about it a lot. I mean, it's important. Like to me, well, there's a lot of different kind of games, but wow, in the last 10 years, well, even more than that, I would say 20 years, we've had a good chance to build a nice story around lots of pinball machines, and it's important. It's really important. It's important for every element to, you know, work harmoniously with every other element. When I say that, I mean art, sound, the music, how the ball plays, how you feel about, you know, like feelings are really important. It's kind of cool to make people feel intimidated like AC/DC does. It just, you know, it makes fun of you, but you kind of like, you just want to play harder. And some people just plain get mad at me, but I don't care because I'm not there to hear it. Wow. Yeah, I mean, a story is important, at least somewhat. Yeah. Older games, we didn't have as much going on and not as many avenues to tell the story. Now, of course, we got video, and it's a lot clearer what the goals are, and also what you're doing in the game, and maybe who you're fighting, etc. That's all I have to say about that. Thanks for your question. And these horns are coming off. They hurt. Another question. Well, Borg's back got one. Oh,
yeah, I was wondering if you'll wear those horns to work next week because they look really good on you.
He wants you to wear the horns to work next week because they look good on you.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to do it. I want Chuck Blake to fix them up so they light again, too. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a confession to make. This is water. The fun stuff comes later.
Hi, Steve.
Any other questions?
Yes. I know you can't tell us what the next game is that you're working on, but what most excites you about the project that you're working on right now?
What excites you about your next project?
There isn't anybody to tell me how to make it. I could ask people. It's going to be all the people of Stern that make it, not some licensor. And I'm very excited about that because I don't know. Sometimes I don't understand the audacity of some people who can like I don't go to them and go, okay, I want you to make a movie just like this. I don't know how to make movies, and they don't know how to make pinball machines, yet they're telling us. A lot of it wasn't so bad, but I just, you know, it's a wonderful freedom, and that's why I'm very happy right now.
Any other questions?
So obviously you can't tell us what it is, but can you tell us when we might expect it? This year, next year?
He wants to know when you can expect the next game, but I don't think that's one we can answer.
Oh, you don't?
I don't know.
No, I'll tell you exactly when it's going to happen. It's going to happen on the 35th day of the Festival of Cunegonda.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I know. They knew too. Y'all knew I was going to say that. Any other questions? Come on, we got like 10 more minutes to burn. Of course, I could take this get up off and...
How do you choose the IPs that you work with? Do you choose roller games? Do you choose AC/DC? Do they find you?
Do you choose the projects, or do they get assigned to you for the titles that you do?
It's been some of each. Most of the time, I have gotten to choose my own titles, but I'm a guy who talks to a lot of people. I'm going to talk to my friends at Stern Pinball about whether or not it's a good idea. I'm sorry. Sometimes I know what's a good idea, and sometimes I have to ask other people. A couple of times at Stern, titles were forced on me, and it doesn't work very well for anybody because the game designer has to be involved in and like what he's doing while he does it. And it's like, you know, how can you hate Star Wars? You can't hate it. So you take the license, but then there's 50 people telling you how to make it. We only had two on Game of Thrones, two ladies, and basically their answer was no. Whatever you wanted, no humor, no, don't make it too bloody, etc. So it's much better when I can choose my own title. I mean, the guys in the company have to like it too. Gary has to like it, or at least believe in it. But if I have something I really want to believe in, I also believe they're going to let me do it. And that's my answer to that question. Any other questions?
George Gomez talks about how it was a thrill to be able to redesign a game in Batman 66. If you could do a game again, what game would it be?
If you could redesign one of your own games, which one would you do?
I don't know. I don't think I would do that. Redesign one of your own games. I mean, I made sequels. Redesign, probably not. I don't know. Now I'm going to do that. Now that you put that in my head, damn it. In fact, that's what wrecked my whole life right now. I'm just kidding. Any other questions? Way back there, couple.
Steve, I've got your game, Game of Thrones Ali, and I think the upper play field is one of the best in pinball. And I just wondered, what do you think about upper play fields and how they're going to play out in the future of pinball? Are they going to get smaller? Are they going to go away? And what are your thoughts about that particular upper play field?
Wait, I just want to say this. I got in trouble at a show for doing this. Your question is too long. The next man that asks me a question that long will feel my blade. Okay, anyway, I'm just kidding. All right, what's his question?
All right, he loves the Game of Thrones, LE, upper playfield.
Yeah.
What do you think about upper playfields in general and a future for them?
I like them. I think I taught too many people to like flow. What I mean by that is, you know, any break now, and you know, and there is a break in the game up there, but it's still, I don't know, you have to react, you have to play it. It's not easy, but some people didn't like it, but you know, what can I say? I feel good about upper play fields. I like them. Okay, what I would call a play center is a flipper button. Every flipper on the game is a play center. The player can interact with everything that's in front of that flipper. So if you have 3, you're going to have more play centers. What are the real inputs you got? The only inputs you have are maybe the fire button, lane change, and flippers. That's about it. So the more options you give to the player to, you know, interact with the ball, I think it makes games stronger and more fun. That's just my opinion. But you're going to have to live with it. Just kidding. That's rude. I'm a bad man.
We just saw a code update for AC/DC. I was wondering if there was anything more that he'd want to do to Star Trek, if he could, in terms of code.
Is there anything in Star Trek, the Stern one, that you would like to see in a code update?
Not too much. I want to see AC/DC code update. I'm happy with Star Trek. I know some people aren't, but Star Trek is actually a pretty simple game to play, and I think, I don't know, it's fun. I still have one in my office, and I'm going to buy it because I want it. That's weird, but I do. Thanks. There's a lot of people's good work in it.
So of the games that are out in the industry all throughout time, pretty much, the ones that you didn't design, what was your favorite one? What game did you wish you had designed that somebody else did, and you went, yeah, that's the one, you did good?
Not including your own games.
Yes.
What's your favorite game from another designer that you kind of wish you did?
Wow. I have favorites from every designer. From Dennis Wardman, I like Whitewater. I know it sounds weird, but I really like, yeah, I really like Matahari from Jim Patla, or Captain Fantastic from What's His Face. Hey, you get old and you forget names. What is his name?
Who did Captain Fantastic? I don't remember who did
We know his name. Do you know, George? The Womanizer. Greg Kamick, sorry. By Greg Kamick. And Greg's made some great games, and that one got me. That affected me radically. Other games, I really like Total Nuclear Violation. No, that's not it. Annihilation. Okay, I like that game. It's very cool. That kid is pretty innovative and did a lot with just a little. It's a good game, fun to play. I like George's, well, I can't think of any. No, I'm just kidding. I like Monster Bash, and I like Lord of the Rings, definitely. From, what's that?
Do you like Circus Voltaire?
No. I don't like Circus Voltaire, and I don't like Black Rose. Just one of those things. Oh, no. What do you do?
Something, what do you like, what? Scrolls on my Black Knight 2000. He likes scrolls on his Black Knight 2000.
Scrolls?
The scrolls from Circus Voltaire that were on the side of the head.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah.
You know what? That game earned really well in San Francisco. I'm not kidding. It did. Anyone else have a question? Wow, there's a few.
So with Star Wars, you added the action button where you take your hands off the flipper in the middle of the game. What do you think of that in hindsight? And that's something you want to keep using?
Do you like in Star Wars where you have to use the action button, like to kill the TIE fighters?
I invented that. I really did. I asked Dwight to make a game out of pounding the button as fast as you could, like, what was it called? Track and Field? Yeah. Remember that video game? I like that. And so that was the deal, pound the button. I think he did pretty well with it. It's fun to kill TIE fighters. They're really not made in Thailand, though. They're not TIE fighters, really. Anyway, we'll take another question.
Looking back almost 20 years now, what are your thoughts on the Pinball 2000 format that almost was?
What do you think about the Pinball 2000 format, looking back now, 20 years later?
Okay, the truth is, I think they tried really hard to do something special with it. And every time I talk about this, I feel guilty because I bailed just before. For me, the writing was on the wall about pinball doing this. And I admire everybody trying, but they were sort of working against a guy who had a better business model in mind called slot machines. And I don't think, no matter what we or they did, it would have changed anything. I guess Pinball 2000 is like, it's the playfields were thinner, and for me, I mean, I'm just giving you my reactions. I don't hate them. I just can't believe that, well, there are some problems. I mean, it costs $600 more to build that than a regular pinball machine at that point, and it was like, when people didn't want pinball anymore, they didn't want more expensive pinball either. So I just don't, I don't know. I feel bad for even saying that, but I'm just being honest. I feel bad that pinball fell apart there, and I admire everybody that worked really hard to try and make it work, but it didn't. I have my failures too, believe me.
When you're working on a new pinball machine, do you typically start with a theme in mind, or do you start with design elements and apply a theme to it?
When you're designing a new game, do you start with a theme or a design first?
First, I start by going to the bathroom. No, I don't. Yeah, you gotta have a theme first. What can I say? Usually while I'm working on a game, I come up with more stuff, and sometimes I pass that stuff on to the next game, so some piece of the playfield might already be there in my head, but it's best to have a theme first and, build around it. You need a central thought, a focus to build a good game around, I believe. And does that answer your question? All right. Any more questions? Going once. Oh. Wait, it's Jared. Don't give him the mic. I'm kidding.
We have a question from a live viewer. A guy, Warren, says, there's been a trend recently towards extremely deep rule sets. Do you prefer those, or do you prefer a little bit more simple rule sets?
There's been a trend lately of extremely deep rule sets. Do you prefer those or simpler ones?
On this game, I think we're gonna back down on the complexity a bit. Not that I thought it was really interesting where Star Wars got, and that's what you're talking about. Game of Thrones first. Dwight's a great rules maker. I would like to simplify them, mostly because I don't understand all the rules to Star Wars, and I don't understand all the rules to Game of Thrones, and so I'd like a game that I could, understand the rules totally. But there are games that I really like to play, like AC/DC. I don't know all the rules to that. Lyman's written in some very complicated stuff, but it's cool. And it's just not for me, it's for people who are better players, and I want to make everyone happy if I can. Have a front end, that's what I call the game, the part that a player sees first and is exposed to, and maybe can latch onto something here or there and begin to get their interest, and then chase it down with more complex things to do later on so it doesn't get boring. That's my answer.
I was wondering if you could give your thoughts as to why Atari's pinball division never really found success.
Why do you think Atari pinball division failed?
Well, there's lots of reasons, and I know them all. Okay, Lyman Bushnell, I'm sorry. Oh, Nolan Bushnell was a great guy. He gave me my first break in pinball. He let me design a game, and I was not an engineer. I was a guy that passionately wanted to make pinball, and he let me. But he also had this weird thing where it's like a bunch of guys sitting in a room and talking about, wouldn't it be cool if we had rotary solenoids and a lot of other stuff, when, you know, I knew what the inside of pinball machines looked like from Bally, from Gottlieb. I'm not going to say Williams because I didn't admire their solenoids and the way they built things, but definitely Gottlieb and Bally. And I always wondered, why would he want to, you know, reinvent the wheel on those devices, because they had so much experience. Like a rotary flipper, why are you even going to bother sticking it in there? Make it linear. Look what they did and do something similar, because it works. So that was one problem. Then finally, when they decided to use linear solenoids, well, they had other weird ideas, like let's put the display down here with all the players in it where no one can see it. And that was a terrible thing. The back box existed so that people could see what score they're getting and everyone could see it. It's like a big billboard. And the way a person's mind works, even if you don't realize it when you're playing a game and your score's there, you know, big and front and center, you're saying to yourself, see that? I did that. I did that. And it needs to be displayed and celebrated, not down here. That's one mistake. Another mistake, putting the PC board down in the bottom of the cabinet where metal parts could fall down on it, and it actually started a fire in an arcade in California, but they put it out. It didn't burn down the arcade. Also, they never really, you know, when I used to go down to the Atari assembly line, I had no idea how wrong it was until I got to Williams and saw how real pinball machines are assembled. And just nobody really knew. You know, there was one or two guys that they hired from Chicago, and you know, one guy kept telling me every day, and he was right, Atari's never going to be successful at making pinball machines. He would say that to me every morning. And he was a lot older than me, and he taught me how to actually construct a pinball machine. He would make drawings, and I would, you know, assemble the parts on the play field. So I'm grateful to him, and he was right. He was right. Atari eventually had to go under because it just, by the time they got to be, you know, more mainstream, let's say mainstream pinball, it was kind of too late. So that's my thoughts, and I'm sticking with them. Any other questions? This is his fourth one, ladies and gentlemen. It better be good.
You've mentioned being inspired by track and field. You currently have me searching for Pac-Man to buy you. What's your favorite classic arcade machine? Video game-wise, I mean.
Your favorite classic arcade video game, what is it?
Robotron 2084. I was with Eugene and Larry. They were like right down the block from Williams, and I used to go and visit them at VidKids, and actually, they were just going to call it 2084, and I came up with the name Robotron, and they used the Robotron 2084. But I was totally in love with that game. It's like, what we used to do, this is rude, I hate to teach you people this, but like at Williams, you know, when you were done playing a game, I mean, it's like Robotron would be so frustrating sometimes. We all did this. When we'd be driving, game over, bam, right on the glass. And every glass game had big handprints on it because there's nobody in the arcade to tell us, hey, don't do that or we'll throw you out. So we did it all we wanted, but then you get in the habit of it and you accidentally do it in an arcade. It's kind of a bad thing. Any other questions?
Did they give you a game for coming up with the name? Did you get a machine?
Actually, I had to buy it, but it's okay. What Larry did custom code and it said Steve and Diana and Chris, you know, for Mikey. They changed that stuff in there. Wow, there's something else I want to say before I forget. There's this lady that's been in my life for like 50 years. She's sitting right there, Diana, my wife, and it's like, my life would be such a pile if it wasn't for her, a disorganized mess. She does so much for me, and I just want to say thank you and I love you. We have a lot of arguments too. Well, I'm not going to tell you about them. Any other questions?
Steve, in the hit 1994 pop single Mortal Kombat that made it to the #1 of the Billboard music charts, was that your voice featured in the song? And if yes, were you paid any royalties for the millions and millions of times people were playing that song in their cars at the time?
Did they use your voice in that Mortal Kombat song that became a big hit?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, unless all the names of the players are recited, they did use
They are. And they're right from the video game, and it sounds just like you.
My voice was used in the movie without my permission.
So the rest of the question was,
What's that?
Did you get a royalty for that?
No royalties. Anyway, folks, I'm getting hot sitting here. I have to say, thank you very much for coming and listening to this stuff and get out of this box. I do love the Texas Pinball Festival, and I'm really glad that you could come and listen to our foolishness. Have a great show. And thank you. A great show. Thank you very much. Thank you.